Gameranx presents another episode of Before You Buy, the show where we give you some straight up gameplay and some first impressions of the latest games releasing. As usual, I'm Jake Baldino, and today we're talking about Attack on Titan. Now just hang on a sec, I know you're probably freaking out looking at this. If you've never seen the anime, you're probably saying, yo, what the hell is this? What's with all these giant naked dudes? Basically, this Attack on Titan game is based on the popular anime and manga series about a civilization living behind a wall protecting them from giant titans. Big, monstrous creatures that are very creepy and sexless and just kind of fleshy, and they like to eat humans. The soldiers train to protect the wall and the citizens from these titans, and they're really awesome, and they rock two swords, and they have this omnidirectional mobile gear that kind of lets them Spider-Man around the environment with grappling hooks. When I first saw Attack on Titan, the anime, in action, I remember immediately going, wow, I want to play this in a video game. And so far, the versions have really faltered. The 3DS game wasn't so hot, and some of the fan-made games are okay, but I gotta say, man, Attack on Titan, the game, nails it. If you were an absolute fan of the series going into this, I think mostly this is going to be exactly what you want. First of all, to me, it really does nail the look of the source material. The game looks great. It looks like an animated episode. Everything is very true. All the colors match. And the cutscenes are very stylized and fit the tone very well. But the best part is that everything performs pretty damn well. While the frame rate will slow down a little bit when there's a lot of enemies and destruction on screen, most of the time this game keeps up, and with the visuals and the draw distance and just the general effect and making it look like a cartoon anime, just make it seem like Koei Tecmo did a really good job here. And that's overall the theme. They really seem to have taken it seriously, because Attack on Titan does follow the core story very much more in line with the show, and you basically play out the events in sequence as they happen, with little additions here and there to kind of flesh it out. The actual setup and structure of the game might be its one fault. I think to some people it might leave them desiring a little bit more, because the core setup here is something very similar to Dynasty Warriors. But don't freak out. I think personally the formula here is a little bit stronger, but it's just very simple because you're dropped on a battlefield and it's up to you to just kill titans. And there are little objectives here and side objectives that pop up, but ultimately they're just go here and kill more things. So to some it can get a little bit repetitive, because other than that, the only things to really break up that monotony are the occasional playing as a titan, which is kind of fun, but ultimately way too simple, and walking around social spaces, buying and upgrading weapons, crafting materials to upgrade those weapons, and talking to other NPCs. But the real core gameplay here, to me, is enough fun to warrant playing through the entire game. You fly through the air at rapid speeds, find a titan, lock on, latch your grappling hook onto that titan, fly in using momentum, picking off certain body parts to weaken it, and then you go for the nape of its neck, which is the only way to kill a titan. And it's basically rinse and repeat. Now there are different types of titans and different strategies here and there, and there's also other players on the field that you can control and command to your will, but ultimately that's about it. That's all you're really doing. Some of the environments are pretty big, and it's nice to explore them, especially once you get a war horse. You can ride around on a horse and then launch off your horse and then attach onto a titan. In motion, it just works really good, especially when you're playing as one of the more powerful characters like Mikasa or Levi. You're flying around, rapid fire, slaying titans left and right, barely touching the ground, and it's just visceral and exciting, and you always get a rush because it's stylized, it's convincing, and it doesn't feel crappy. It's actually a bit more complicated and not button mashing, because like I said, you do have to use team tactics, and also positioning and timing your grapples right are very important. Not only that, but just traversal around the environment is pretty fun because it looks awesome. You're Spider-Manning around, and while you don't have complete control over where every grappling hook attaches, you're kind of just always flinging around at high speeds, and it's always awesome. Occasionally, some of the tighter alleyways, and when there's a lot of titans on screen at once, things get a little messy, the camera gets held up on things, and you can't see what you're doing, and that's when the game feels probably at its crappiest. It only happens sometimes, but it can get a little frustrating. That's probably my biggest complaint with the gameplay. The game does definitely follow the story very well. It's very easy to figure out what's going on. And while it is kind of concise, it still gives you a sense of the characters, who they are, what their motivations are, and basically what's going on in this world. I think it is worth noting, though, that it is all Japanese voice acting with subtitles. So that's going to turn some people off, but ultimately I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like I said, to some the gameplay might feel a little bit repetitive, but to me, I just really like the combat. And there's a bit more to keep you busy, because every single level you get different rankings, so you can go through and replay missions with different characters and try and get an S rank. Not only that, but there's also pretty solid multiplayer co-op mode. With up to 3 other players, you guys can fly around and kill titans in a big arena, and use tactics and work together or split up, and basically just kill shit. And it's a really good time, and it does actually work. There's a good lobby system where you can walk around and talk to your friends and upgrade your weapons. And so far, for me, it's worked pretty well. I haven't really had a lot of actual friends to play this game with yet, but the co-op does work, and it's a lot more fun when you're playing with friends. You just feel like even more of an efficient killing machine. So if it sounds like I really like this game, let me tell you this. Two things. Number one, I am a really big fan of the source material, so I was excited. But also number two, I went into this game with zero expectations. Honestly, I kind of expected it to be garbage. But what I found here is a pretty damn fun Attack on Titan game, which is basically exactly how I wanted a game of Attack on Titan to actually play out. And if you are a big fan of the series and you're like me and you just wanted to be able to kill Titans in a video game, this is it, man. I'm telling you, Attack on Titan is really good. It is for you, and you're going to love it. If maybe you're a bit more of a casual Attack on Titan fan and you just really like a lot of value from your game, honestly, maybe $60 is a little bit too much for this game, considering, you know, the combat does get really repetitive and that's all you're basically doing. I definitely predict that's going to be an issue for some players. But chances are, if you're checking out this game, you're really into the anime. And if you are that person, it is going to give you what you want. And if you're not, you're still going to be playing a pretty damn good game. It might just fall a little bit short of greatness in terms of how much content it really has. Also, one other small complaint, it doesn't have the theme songs from the show. So if this video did have a review score at the end, I would dock it a point for that. Is that complete bullshit? Yeah, probably. So guys, that's Attack on Titan for PS4, PS3, and a Vita version apparently, which I didn't get my hands on. I tried to give you guys the features, the pros and cons, and how I personally feel about it, and I want to know in the comments, you know, are you guys into this? Was this on your radar? If it wasn't, are you surprised now? And if you did get your hands on it early, maybe the Japanese version or something like that, let me know what you think about the combat, because I think it is just deep enough and just visceral and exciting enough to warrant playing through the entire game. Let me know if you agree with me, let me know if you hate me, let me know if you just hate anime. I'll be in the comments talking about the game, and if you guys have any more questions, I'll also be on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino as well. Thanks for watching all these before you buys, guys. Clicking the like button helps us out a ton. You guys know that. We really appreciate it. And subscribing if you're new is a great idea, because we put out videos like this, at least a before you buy, every single week. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.